one and only Mike Mogill, the CEO of Crisp Video.
All right, Bill. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you everyone for really taking time out today to participate in something like this, because I believe that the information that you consume and where you consume it is extremely important. So you can be around a lot of people that are, doom and gloom, and you can be watching, CNN, like constant negative news, and Fox News, and all the, just seeing how bad things are and paralyzing yourself. Or you could be surrounding yourself with people that are growth-minded and are looking at things proactively in terms of what solutions there actually could be. So what I wanted to talk about really is just kind of leading through adversity and what you can do as a law firm owner during this time. We've been in constant communication with our clients, and I think that success leaves clues. So when you see what some of the most successful firms are doing during this time and how they're managing their teams, what they're doing with their clients, what they're doing in their communities, that gives you a good indicator of like, okay, that there are people that are being not only very proactive, but are able to like not just survive, but potentially even thrive during this period of time. So the first thing I want people to think about, just as an entryway into what we're going to discuss, is just remember the world you want to come back to when this is over. Okay, because there's a lot that we can do as leaders during this time to make things better for the people around us. And I'm assuming that because you became a leader and an entrepreneur and a CEO, that chances are that you believe that you'd be rather bet on yourself for your future than bet on somebody else. And with that comes a lot of responsibility. And I think a lot of just, being responsible for your clients, being responsible for your team and their families, your family, and so on, that heavy lies the crown. And I believe that in this moment, true leaders will step up. Let me see if I can share a screen here. We'll see how well this works. All right, let's see if everyone can see that. I don't know if you still see me, but I wanted to hit on really 3 points, okay? So today what we're gonna really cover is, your job as a leader, the biggest mistakes you can make right now, and then the opportunity for innovation. So because this is, there's really 3 points, there's nothing on the slides outside of the topics themselves. What I'll do is just basically go through it point by point, okay? So the first one really starts with your job as a leader. And this is where I believe leaders have the opportunity to truly lead. First and foremost, it's difficult to help anybody else if you're not helping yourself first. So you can't pour from an empty cup, all those different things that we hear, and it's so true. I've also found that calm is contagious. I'll give you an example. When this coronavirus stuff was first starting out, and we were seeing situations get worse and worse, and we're speaking to our law firm owners in various markets. We work with about 1,000 firms, so we have firms in every market across America, and we're hearing about what's happening in their, in their communities, what's happening to their, with their teams and so on. And as the situation gets worse and worse, and now we're feeling the impact of it, all those different things, it's very easy to go into freak out mode, okay? Because you're just getting bad news every day. Okay, you're having a problem every single day, and it's getting worse, and it's compounded by the fact that there's a lot of uncertainty and that we can't predict what the future holds. We don't know what tomorrow is going to be like, or next week, or next month, and you're asked to make decisions around, well, what do we think will happen a month from now or 2 months from now? So anybody who had an event is looking at, well, do I postpone the event? Do I cancel the event? If you have a workshop, if you have a seminar, if you have anything, like our company is very travel-based, right? So we're traveling to 50 to 60 firms a month. Well, what happens when you can't travel anymore? Or what happens when people aren't allowed to leave their homes and that's your business? So that's a very scary place to be. And we have, it's 65 people on our team right now. Our payroll is $25,000 a day, okay? To say that I was not terrified and scared and still am scared would be completely dishonest, okay? I absolutely am, without a doubt. I mean, you have to understand, just like any other business owner during this time, yes, I think that's a very natural part of it. I guess the question is that what do you do in spite of that? So courage is not just, leading into the face of battle and pounding your chest. I think courage is truly being scared, but not letting that stop you from doing the things necessary to support the people around you. So I think your job as a leader is to, quite frankly, and I'll simplify this, is to step up and lead. Okay? There's a lot of leaders that are looking around to somebody else to give instruction on what they should be doing when other people are looking to them for clarity, like your team and their families and your clients and so on. The best thing you can be, and this is in my humble opinion, is an example for others. So, but you have to make sure that you're getting your situation under control first. And the first thing is really making sure that calm is contagious. I learned this a long time ago. I think this is like a Navy SEAL maxim, where when they're going into battle, if someone's freaking out, that puts other people on edge, and then they start freaking out. So you have to maintain a sense of calm within your organization, calm and clarity. The other thing is you got to gather yourself. So if you're having any type of daily routines, I share this with the team, and I do this in our daily morning check-ins. I'll do it till I'm blue in the face. But it is easy to get off track when when your environment changes. You go from working in an office to working at home on your couch. You've got, your spouse, or you've got a significant other, you've got a dog running around, like now you're working remotely. Your routine changes. You used to work out, but now the gym's closed. Like, what do? And it's more important than ever to discipline yourself in a way that you're making sure that you maintain those rhythms and your team maintains those rhythms of making sure that those are the habits that keep you on track. So some examples of things that we've done with the team, we instituted, so we do our morning check-ins via Zoom, the same platform we're on now. The team leads also do a check-in with their departments before the all team check-in in the morning. Then we do a midday and then an end of day. So the team is actually interfacing continuously. We use Slack, and we've been working remotely to message one another. And in addition to that, we also use a platform, this is free, it's called Commit to 3. And this was a way that team members could state what their commitments were for the day. We were able to track their accountabilities. We could do it department by department. It's actually a free tool. Just search like Commit to 3. We used it several years ago and we brought it back, and we'll actually probably still keep using it even after the Corona thing. Once we're out of this, right, we'll still use it, because we're actually finding that a lot of the things that we're realizing now are working quite well, and that we stumbled upon end up being like things you'll want to probably maintain even after, once we go back to working in the office and we're no longer working remotely and people are allowed to go outside and they're allowed to actually, commerce with one another. This all comes from a realization that you have to accept what you can't control and focus on what you can control. So I see a lot. Bill said at the very start, and I'm not trying to not be empathetic to the fact that people are going through a very, very, very difficult time. They're going through a cash crunch in their business. They're put in very difficult situations. People in their communities are struggling. Their families are struggling. That is a scary place to be. And I'm not trying to undermine the fact of that how scary that really is. But you decide whether you can play the victim or whether you're going to take proactive action. And I'm not beating my chest in some Tony Robbins kind of way of saying go out there and do something. I'm recognizing this in our own business. When we came in, when this was first heating up, before we made the decision to send everybody to work remote, because we're not a remote company by nature, we had a meeting with all the team leads. We stopped everything and we mapped out a game plan of saying, look, what we were doing previously wasn't working, and we're going to have to pivot and adjust because the landscape is different. Ken was just speaking. He laid out some very, very good points in the sense that this is the time to give. This is the time to focus on how you can bring value to people, to bring hope to people, not the time to go for the sale and really pull back. I think people will remember how leaders and organizations behave during this time, and they'll see whether they stepped up or not, and they'll see how they treated their clients, and they'll see how they treated their community and all these different things. And the final thing I'll say is your job as a leader. It's amazing how much I see people, how much they know about the coronavirus and they know about the stock market. But are you paying as close attention to your business as you are to coronavirus? And that's something where it's you can tell me exactly, someone will tell me how many cases there were in some third world country the other day, but they can't tell me their average case value or their cost of acquisition or anything like that. And this is a great time to refocus on what you can control and really focus on your business. So that's the first thing in terms of your job as a leader. The next one is some of the biggest mistakes you can make right now. So I surveyed a number of our clients the other day, and I asked them, I was like, the most successful firms, what are some of the biggest mistakes that you can make right now as a business, as a law firm? And I want to share with you guys some of the things that they said. The first one, this is the most common one above anything else, was to panic and make decisions from a place of fear and emotion and not clarity. So meaning that you're making decisions based on gut instinct, which is typically low-level decision-making, because in the present situation, you start making all sorts of predictions for how things will be tomorrow and next month and 2 months from now when you really don't know, and you perhaps could make the wrong decision. You want to have calm and clarity when you go into making any decision, and if emotion's playing too strongly of a role, I would encourage you to pull back, gain some perspective, gain some clarity before impacting somebody's life in a manner just because you're scared, okay? The next thing is, this is simple, but this is just something we were hearing last week. They were saying, we have clients were saying that my phone's not ringing. And, this is a simple thing. If you have not already done this, I promise you may roll your eyes when I say this, but have you notified your clients, prospective clients in the community that you are open for business? Because not everyone's aware. Some people think everybody's shut down. Have you, shown them that you guys are working remotely, that your team is available, that you can, do Zoom conferences, that you can do e-sign, that there's all sorts of options for reaching out to you. If you haven't done that, I certainly encourage you to do so because, here's another example, non-law firm. Look at restaurants right now. We don't know what restaurants are open, what restaurants are closed. But imagine a restaurant, did a video and said, all right, just to let you guys know, we're doing curbside pickup and delivery. And let me take you back in our kitchen and show you how, like, the food safety habits we're doing right now in light of coronavirus to show you how we're making sure to prepare your meals and deliver them to you in a safe way. That restaurant just gained a competitive advantage. So why not do the same thing with your law firm and show, like, your clients and your prospective clients how you are working remotely and that you are available and you're open for business. The next one, this is a big one, is making personnel decisions like layoffs based on assumptions without considering long-term implications. I'm going to catch a lot of criticism from people on this because I've been getting a lot of heat. It's like easy for you to say, and that's what's just puzzling to me. I don't know how many people know our story and our background in that. The whole thing, we bootstrap this business. So when we have a payroll, and I'm feeling it every day, $25,000 a day. It's over $500,000 a month. It hurts. Okay. That is a tough position to be in. And when I make this, when I state this publicly, if I can't predict the future. So when I'm saying we're doing something, and if that ends up not being true, or, whatever it is, people can call you a hypocrite and call you out. So I'm writing a very expensive check right now with what I'm about to say. But it breaks my heart when I see leaders, and this is, to me, this is not nobility. This is true leadership. When I see firm owners laying off a huge percentage of their staff, people that help them get to where they are today, the team, your vendors, your partners, and you're putting those people in the unemployment line to save your ass, like that is the single most disloyal thing that, in my opinion, that a firm could do to the rest of their staff. Okay. And we made a commitment that we would not do any layoffs. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to terminate someone who's not doing their job and is not accountable and is not performing. Like, that to me doesn't matter if it's coronavirus or swine flu or whatever it is. That to me is, I think you're either doing your job or you're not. But in terms of laying people off, I think it is our duty as leaders to find a place for these people. Roles, don't matter at this point, right? I don't care if someone's an intake or they're paralegal or they're marketing, whatever the firm needs. And it's figuring out creatively what you can do to support that person and to support their family as a leader. Because to me, there's nothing more selfish than rolling into your multi-million-dollar home at the end of the night after you laid off 75% of your team or flying in a G500. Shame on you. People will remember how we came out of this. This will all circulate back. Once that passes, we're all going to be open for business again. And the calls are going to start coming back in. What are we going to do? Rehire all the people we laid off? So I think laying off great team members is a knee-jerk reaction. And it's something to really seriously consider around. I understand cash flow. I understand the implications of that. But we need to look inward in terms of what is our role, and do we want to be the type of place that people can look to and our team can look to as, this person's got my back. They will they will be creative. They will be strategic. Do your job as a leader, okay? And find a place for the people in your organization to exist while we weather this storm, rather than throwing them in the unemployment line, okay? The next thing, we already talked about this as a big mistake, is letting yourself go. So meaning that, you deviate from your daily routines, exercise, sleep, eating right, all the things that allow you to be, in peak state day over day, day to day, and so on. And, to be able to be in your best self, to make the right decisions, to be proactive, to be present, all those things are so important. And then leading into the next mistake, it's failing to adapt. So, I see a lot of firms right now. Again, I'll get some criticism for this. So, I may not be the most liked speaker on this webinar, though I'm grateful for your attention, that are using coronavirus as an excuse to give up and not try to come up with creative solutions. Saying, oh, it's coronavirus, or we're in quarantine, or like, what is it? Like like everyone's forced into their homes. They're not allowed to go out. It's like, man, what do I do? Okay, if you're the type of person that's looking for someone to tell you that there's nothing that you can do, it's not me, maybe it'll be somebody else, maybe find a different community or something like that, where the people will have the pity party for you. But, as John Morgan says, you got two options, right? It's really grow or die. I do not believe that there is a true middle ground. If you are unwilling to adapt and innovate and be flexible, you will go out of business. We're all not going to make it. That's just the nature of it. But it's realizing that there's not, let me preserve what I have, and then I'm going to come out of the other end. I'm going to be great. I'm going to accomplish my long-term vision. Either you're proactively growing, or you're slowly but steadily going out of business. And again, this is a defining moment for leaders because you have the opportunity to step up to do something rather than going into an underground bunker and waiting it out, okay? And then finally, the last mistake that was shared by our firms is that you abandon your long-term vision in favor of impulsive decisions. So, when you look at, okay, forget what our growth goals were this year or next year or 5 years from now, and instead saying like, okay, right now, we need to forget about all that stuff and forget about the decisions that we were making. So you start cutting people and cutting partners and cutting vendors and cutting everything to just try to make it through and exist, rather than looking at it for the approach of how do I come up with creative solutions that allow me to take care of my team, my family, my partners, my vendors, and we all make it out of this together. I mean, it's the same thing I said at the very beginning. Remember the world you want to come back to when this is over. And if we're all, essentially, what's the word? Destroying one another. Like if we're destroying each other, we're saying we're going to cut our partners, cut our vendors, cut our team, and everybody's doing that to everybody else. Consider the fact that when we come out of this, whether you go to restaurants, whether you have, if you've got kids, I've got a 15-month-old. Let's say they've got music lessons or karate, and those organizations weren't able to weather the storm, and now they're out of business. All the places you used to go eat, they're out of business. What kind of communities do we want to return to? So this leads me to my final point, which is number 3 here, which is the opportunity for innovation. Okay. So it is my firm belief that there is no greater investment and no greater return and no higher return on investment, stocks included, than investing in yourself and in your business. And probably there's no investment that you have greater control over either. You can't control the stock market, but you can control what's going on in your business and your law firm and yourself. So the most successful firms that we're speaking to, they're expanding. They're doubling down and they're investing more in their marketing because so consumption is like 2 to 3 times what it was 2 weeks ago. The CPMs on social media are now like way down because you're seeing a lot of like, let's say event advertisers, sports, and a lot of big advertisers that pulled out during this time, which drives the CPMs down, the cost per 1,000 impressions. So this is a great time to actually expand your marketing. What you might be doing, when you're marketing, the messaging is not hire us today. It's more about we're here for you. We're here to support you. We're here to support our communities. Show what you're doing as a beacon of just confidence and leadership. People will remember those things. You may sell them today, meaning that you sell them and that they trust you and they like you. And you just happen to collect later when they need you, right? When we come out of coronavirus, they'll remember the firm that was all about supporting their community, was proactive while everybody else was in hiding. So just know that pulling back and contracting is not a growth strategy, okay? And just growth-minded business owners, they're gonna look at these opportunities as, wow, we can really scale now. I was hearing for years, what a difficult job market this is. I can't find good people anywhere. It's impossible. It's so in favor of the employee and not the employer. Well, guess what? You got the best job market coming your way. It's already exists. So if you want to find great people, and in fact, if anyone here is on this webinar is laying off great A players, amazing people, let me know because we'd love to hire them because good people are really hard to find, as we all know. And if you guys are terminating your best people, well, wow, maybe we can find a place for them and it could save us a lot of time in just recruiting and time and energy and resources because we will come out of this and we will, remember, this will end, and eventually the phones will start ringing again, but eventually people are going to start collaborating more. There's going to be greater exchange of commerce. All these different things will start taking place and you're going to scale back up. You'll hire the people that perhaps you fired during this time, which I don't recommend doing. But you're going to have a need for all those people to answer your phones, to handle your intake, to do, paralegals, move cases forward, all those different things. But again, setbacks sort people. So this will be a defining moment for leaders who step up and are creative and strategic and find a way to make things happen. And at the same time, people will also remember those who, they were loyal to, but ended up, they were let go by their employer out of, self-preservation or partners or whatever it is. And people will remember that.